Hey everybody, welcome to Aniki, the podcast about anime with two brothers. I'm Ben.
And I'm at a loss for words.
What? You?
I just didn't come up with anything on the spot. I apologize.
Man, letting us all down.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, I guess I could come up with something.
Well, maybe later. What have you been up to
All
since
right.
last we spoke?
Let's see here. I have now finished all of Steins Gate that exists.
Yes, I think you were halfway through the second game last we
Yeah,
spoke.
the first arc is better. So Zero has two major branches, and you have to do them in a specific order.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do branch 1 and then branch 2 to get the true ending. Branch 1 was really, really good. Branch 2 was okay.
Bit of a letdown.
You know, no, it's just okay.
Oh.
I mean, this is all a failed timeline anyway, so it's all kind of. Do you know the deal with it at all? Do you know anything about it?
A bit. I mean, what you told me.
Okay, I don't remember what I even told you.
That it was the
Spoilers, by the way, but go ahead.
slight spoilers. So when a certain character gets killed,
Yeah.
and a plan is hatched in this timeline in Zero, the plan has yet to be hatched.
That is correct. I guess you don't know. So the major sort of gimmick of the game, it's introduced at the end of the prologue. So I feel fine spoiling this for you. But if you don't want to know anything about the game, then ignore me now. The character who has died in the previous version, they are an AI in this one. They are a scan of that person's memories from before they even met all of the main characters.
So a robot or just an AI?
An AI scan of their memories, which is why Glass Wall by Hatsune Miku is a very apt theme song to Zero.
Ouch.
Though the theme song for the original is, of course, Do You Like My Wang by Freezepop,
Yeah,
for obvious reasons.
because it's a Wang.
Yeah, it's a Wang. Well, technically, they're not trying to find a Wang, but I mean,
They've already got
might
one.
as well be trying. They might as well be trying to find a Wang.
It's a computer for those who are confused.
Why would you spoil that? Why can't you just have them Google what's a Wang?
I think the answer to that is self-evident.
I mean, I don't understand.
I'm going to Google that right now and see what pops up. What is
Sure, I'm gonna do it
Wang?
too. What's a Wang?
It tells me exactly what I think.
Although it's probably from Wang
1,
Doodle.
2, 3, 4 things down says a Wang is a Chinese ruler before the 3rd century BC.
Oh, well, there you go. But that's not what the Wang is. What's a Wang computer? See, there you go. Wang Laboratories.
There you go.
They made the Wang. Do you like my Wang?
You been up to anything else?
Let's see. I watched Mob Psycho. I saw Detective Pikachu.
Oh yeah, how was that?
You know, it's fine. It's fun.
It's fun. That's what I've heard.
It's fun.
It's just a fun romp.
I wouldn't say it's like super good. The plot leaves a little to be desired, but I mean, the world is very well realized.
I mean, it is a kids movie.
Yeah, the graphics are there. Well, I mean, the plot's just a little too wacky, but you know, it's fun. The world is it's very real feeling, which is really nice. I would like to see another movie where like there's an evil guy trying to raise Darkrai or something. I think it would do really good or something like that.
Yeah, I did hear one really bad negative about it.
Oh,
And I don't know if this resonates with your experience at all or not.
Sure.
There are no haunters.
There are no haunters. There's a Gengar though.
Well, I don't know. That's not a haunter.
Why do I care about haunter?
I don't know. I'm just saying that's a black spot on an otherwise.
I mean, there's no
passable movie.
Mischievous either, and I do love Mischievous.
Yeah, but that wasn't
But
one
she's
of the,
not in it.
One of the original 151.
Yeah, so there's a very small fraction of the original 151 in this. If this is some sort of gag, I don't understand it.
Now, was there a Pikachu?
Yeah, no, that is true. There was at least one Pikachu. No Pichus and no Raichus.
Okay.
But there was Pikachu.
You can spoil this for me if you want. Was
Okay.
there a Meowth?
Was there a mouth? I think, I don't remember. Not one prominently featured.
Because all I wanted out of the movie was a Meowth voiced by Danny DeVito.
Okay, so that does not happen. However, you do get Ryan Reynolds cry singing the original Pokemon theme song, and it is choice.
Okay, that might be worth the price of admission right there.
It absolutely is worth the price of admission. It's very good.
Speaking of movies, I watched the No Game, No Life Zero movie on a whim.
Okay. I suppose that's something if you want to make that decision with your life, I certainly
did.
can't
I
stop
went
you.
into it with absolutely no expectations, and I was surprisingly moved.
Oh, it was good?
Imagine all the good things you liked about No Game, No Life. You personally.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, now imagine all the bad things you hated about it.
Okay.
The fan service, the contrived game elements, all that stuff. Take
Yeah.
all that stuff, throw it out, and
Okay.
the movie is what's left.
Oh, well, that could be pretty okay then. That could be a fun watch.
I mean, it's still got a lolly character voiced by the same person who did Shiro.
Well,
but
yeah, sure.
if you can get past that, I mean, it's a good movie. It doesn't have any of the...
Okay.
It has some plotting, I guess, but it's not like what you'd expect from the original show.
Yeah, well, that's good to know, because like there's some gimmicks in No Game No Life. It's kind of like the arc of JoJo, where he's in the poker game, and that's a really good bit of JoJo. And some of No Game No Life really feels like that, and that feels really good when it's doing that. But there are other times when it's not doing that, where it's just kind of like,
Yeah, the movie mostly focuses on humanity is failing. It's before the show starts, so it's when all the gods are still warring and humanity is getting the shaft.
Okay.
And it's all about how do we salvage the situation and not get exterminated indirectly.
Interesting.
So
Is there a tete-a-tete?
there is,
Oh, that's good.
but a very small amount.
Ah.
One thing I did want to bring up because it is topical.
Oh, topical.
I don't think we can have a show without mentioning it.
Is it the 2020 lineup of Democratic people trying to get the nomination for president?
No, it's Game of Thrones ending.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Not going to spoil it because I didn't even watch it. I just read all the spoilers.
I didn't. Yeah, no,
However,
I did that.
what I would like to talk about is the reaction to the ending.
Oh, well, see, I'm not on social media, so I don't know what to say. Did I send you those quotes by Ben Dominish about his talk about it? Because there's some pretty good ones.
I don't think you did.
It's a good little article.
Oh, man.
Let me see if I can find it. I mean, it's not like scathing, but it's just well done.
So I don't want to spoil anything at all if you haven't seen it or watched it or whatever. But here's the thing, is the biggest complaint I heard about the ending of Game of Thrones was none of the prophecies came true.
That's not true.
Now, here's the funny thing, though. This is the same crowd.
Like I didn't even watch it, and I only have like the bulleted list of what happened in it. But I can tell you that that's untrue.
This is the same crowd that was all like, I can't believe that George R.R. Martin would kill off primary characters in the first season or the first book or whatever. Can't believe it. What a guy. Bucking all the tropes. And then at the end, none of the prophecies came true. And I'm like, are you guys surprised? Really?
No, I know, right?
I mean, they're prophecies. And they were all contradictory in a world with like 7 different gods. What are you guys expecting? I guess one prophecy did come true, but someone was like, I don't want that. So they didn't get it. The end. So I'm not really sure what the big hoop to do was. From what I read, everything that the characters did, they track. It probably wasn't executed very well.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Sounds like it was
that is
executed
absolutely
terribly.
correct.
But all of the things that happened, they track character-wise.
Yes, when I read what it was, it's like, okay, all of this makes sense, and this is about what I would expect. But it really sounds like it's one of those things where they were given by George R.R. the short list of plot points, and they're like, we don't know how to get to there, but we'll do it, I guess.
I think one of the character arcs takes an about face, but instead of taking like half a season to a season of slowly building that about face, it happens in like an episode or less.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So
I mean, the other thing is like, I love all the people that are like, I spent so much time on the show and the ending wasn't good. And it's like, try liking anime for like all of your adult life. This happens constantly.
you remember that show? What was it called?
Where are you getting from?
Was it? He was like a
Lost?
full Metal Alchemist or something.
Yeah. Well, it was fine. The ending of that was fine.
While season 8 was still airing, somebody made a tweet saying something like, the only good thing to come out of season 8 of Game of Thrones is now so many people now understand what it's like to watch an anime that's run out of source material and is now doing filler.
It's like we've been dealing with this for years, and now you get a taste of it. You should have seen this coming. It happens. Honestly, the show should have just found a good way to sort of where the book stopped. They should have found a good way to do a fade to black there, because that's what a lot of shows do, and that's really what you probably should do.
You could do that. Well, they had a stellar cast. You can't just let that cast go to waste.
That's true.
What I probably would have done is say, hey guys, this show is super popular. It's going to make all the money. Why don't you just make, 6 more episodes and flesh out the things that are going on instead of rushing it?
Because they didn't know what to do, because at the end of the day, they're not writers. I mean, they already butchered a bunch of the characters as opposed to how they are depicted in the books, so...
Well, at least these two
fart noise.
Showrunners aren't going to go and mess up anything like Star Wars anytime soon.
Yeah. Please don't do that to me.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Well, we'll see. But yeah, the pull quote there is pretty good, and it just kind of gets better.
I like that quote.
It's pretty good, right?
With Game of Thrones finally wrapping up, there's an overwhelming plethora of takes of all varieties, political, social, and otherwise. Some are even worth reading.
Exactly. Here's kind of the closing line, and it's pretty good too.
As China's elites took over the world, America's elites were busy spending their time arguing about a show with a dragon named Drogon.
I mean, come on.
He's a dragon, though.
I mean, yeah, he is. He's named Drogon. That's awfully nice.
That's what you do when you're out of names.
I guess so. Well, I mean, again, and it makes sense, too, because, it's yeah, but still, come on.
Oh, you want to talk about our old friend Mob?
I do, actually.
So this week we decided to watch the second season of Mob Psycho 100, which just finished airing. So it's topical and not at all watching a 25 episode show, because that's definitely what we've done at this point. Mob Psycho 100 2 picks up exactly where the last one left off.
Which I kind of liked. I liked how it did that.
And follows our boy Mob as he becomes more
Mobby.
gooder.
More better.
More better. He's a good boy now.
He is a very good boy.
I wouldn't say he's the best boy, but he's a good boy.
He's up there. He's a good boy. That Mob.
So what were your overall thoughts of this season?
You know, I really actually quite liked it. The first couple episodes weren't great. The animation wasn't as edgy as the originals, but the character development was really on point, and it did very well. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed how it really finished the story, too, where it's like this is a natural end, and I don't know if this is how much one has written or not, but it really feels like it's a full story.
I think he's got 1 or 2 more arcs, because I think the manga is either done or about to be done.
Okay, because these two work together as one complete story, which is also very nice. It's not just like, and it could go on. It's like, no, this is very complete in a good way.
Me and my wife both watched this together as it was airing, and I think it missed some of the spark of the original season.
That's true.
But what it lacked in that spark, it made up in character development, especially in Mob's side.
It really did. Yeah. Character development was really strong.
If I had to quibble with it, I would say that it actually peaks in the middle of the season. I would have expected that it would peak at the end, but the whole back half of this season... it revisits the Claw organization from before.
Yeah.
And I feel like it both slowed down and didn't really deliver.
Yeah, the final fight was not as good as I would want it to be.
The fight in the middle is probably the best fight of either season, I would say.
It's very good.
I liked it a lot. But it's definitely a season worth checking out.
Oh yeah, no, episode 3 is amazing. It's very well done. It's not like a super, it's well animated, but it's not like a fight episode. But man, it's rich. It's a rich vein to mine.
And there's several arcs in the show before it actually gets to the Claw arc. So there's a lot of storylines that you can pull out of this season.
Yeah. I really liked how it just really further shows how much one wants to play with the idea of ultimate power and what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just this season especially is just very thoughtful.
It spends a lot of time ruminating on what is Mob's disposition towards his own supreme executive power, essentially.
Yeah, he really wants to explore just the idea of what is strength, what is power, and what makes somebody strong.
And I think the strong point of that isn't necessarily that it brings those things up, it's that the show never actually tells you any of those things. In all the instances where it brings that up, the only feedback you get from the show is either characters trying to get Mob to do the opposite of what the show is trying to say, or it's just focusing on Mob thinking about his situation. And so you as the viewer have to like insert that dialogue yourself, which is really nice.
The themes aren't as good as the original.
No, I don't like the theme. It's not a good theme.
The theme is okay. And the ending theme is like, come on. After you gave us that sweet, like, oil painting animation, you give me this. Don't get me wrong. It is cute. I love those stills. But come on. Though I will say the eye catches are choice.
I do like the eye catches. They're very nice.
The eye catches were very well done.
So I guess we'll go into spoiler round. I guess we don't have to talk about the characters per se, because there aren't too many new characters.
Yeah, because you kind of already know, but yeah.
So instead, I thought we might focus on each of the arcs, because there are like 6 of them. The arcs I have are Fake Girlfriend arc, Odd Jobs, the Demon Asaragi arc, Reagan is a Jerk, Claw Prelude, and then Claw.
Yeah. That's fairly okay. Those are the stories.
Yep.
I wouldn't necessarily say they're all arcs, but they're all stories. I would have liked it more if the first story, the one of like Mob's fake girlfriend, was longer. I wish that had been like 2 or 3 episodes. I think there was a lot to look at there.
You know, it's weird. When I watched it the first time, and when I was coming back to watch it again, I thought that each of these arcs, like especially the fake girlfriend arc and Reagan is a Jerk arcs, I remembered them being longer.
Oh, yeah.
So when I watched it the second time, like, really? These were only 2 episodes each? That's surprising. I don't remember it being that short.
No, Fake Girlfriend was really only 1 episode.
Well, it was 2-ish.
Well, 1.5 at most. I would have liked to see that one be longer, because I think it was really interesting and thoughtful.
Yeah, so in the first episode, Mob is convinced to run for student council president ostensibly. Well, it's kind of convoluted. So it's Mob running for council to impress his crush Tsubomi for the sake of a girl who wants him to run for the ruler of a cult.
Yeah, doesn't want him to run, just wants him to reveal himself as the ruler of this cult that she has made for him.
So it's pretty convoluted. But Mob decides to do it because Tsubomi, and he's all about that. It doesn't go well.
It does not.
Even though we had a sweet training montage. That even told us it was a training montage. I enjoyed that. But he gets up there, and it's an immediate failure. We even have a voiceover saying, in the long history of the school, every council president candidate gives a 5-minute speech. And this was the first time that someone gave a speech and said 0 words.
Absolutely nothing. Just stood there for 5 minutes.
With his mouth agape. It won no one over. A lot of people were impressed, at least by his courage.
Well, supposedly.
I think Tsubomi was. I think she was, and Ritsu.
I would agree.
Ritsu was also impressed. In that episode, I remembered, Tsubomi exists, because I forgot about that. But also...
I know, right? You kind of do forget.
At that moment, in episode 1, I realized, I think Tsubomi really has it for Mob, genuinely, but is waiting for him to grow the hell up. Which is what this whole season's about.
It really is. And man, he does a good job of it. What a good boy, our Mob. What a good boy!
Second episode's the one where they decide to go and try to get rid of a bunch of urban legends that have come to life. I thought that this episode was basically Paranoia Agent, except in 1 episode.
It kind of was, yeah.
A lot of the themes of, like, the Dragger. The Dragger is, like, the ultimate boss of the episode. And it only derives power because everybody remembers all the stories they've been told about the Dragger. So the Dragger is super powerful. And Mob is able to defeat it because he's never heard of it before.
Yeah, and the Dragger is creepy as fuck.
I wrote down that Dragger is creepier than the entire Junji Ito collection anime.
Yeah.
Sad face.
Junji Ito collection was not well done. But the Dragger here, just it dragging creepy dolls is like enough to be like, well, that's not fun.
And then it eats children. Hooray! After dragging them into a swamp.
That's less fun.
Can we talk about, though, the best ghost of the entire series, I think?
It's
Dash.
man-faced
No,
dog.
it's Dash Granny.
Dash Granny is pretty... I do like Dash Granny a lot.
She wasn't actually a ghost. She was just an old woman that likes to run and does it very fast.
One of the few entities in the entirety of the entire season. Yes, the entirety of the entire season. To scare Mob.
Because he can't exercise it. It's not a spirit. Yeah.
Well, technically it's exercising itself.
Oh, yes, it is. Episode 3, I feel like a continuation of the second episode. Second episode and this one are both the Odd Jobs-ish arc, right?
One Danger After Another is really, really, really good, though.
Yeah. So in this one, there are two jobs that they take on. One is they go and check out an apartment where someone's thinks they've had a stalker stalking them, and it's a ghost. So the ghost is creeping on them, terrified of the whole thing, right? She is just covered in cold sweat, screaming, until Mob finds out, hey, actually, it's the guy next door doing an out-of-body experience to peep on you.
Yeah, he's just astral projecting.
And the woman's reaction, I think, starts Mob's descent into, what am I even doing with my life? Because her reaction goes from absolutely terrified to just sheer disgust.
Yeah.
Which is weird. And he thinks that's weird, too. He's like, why does it matter what is peeping on you? Why the suddenly change in perspectives? Is it because simply that it's a known quantity now? That it is just a creepy guy next door? But he is astral projecting. I mean, what's the difference?
It's still weird.
Is there any difference between what humans do and what spirits do?
Yeah.
And why are my actions any better because they're aimed at one rather than the other?
Mm-hmm.
And this comes to a forefront when at the end of the episode, they take on a job where they have to go to a haunted house with a gang of, I guess, college kids.
Yeah, just like shitty grad students.
But they go out for a picture first, and then they see that there are ghosts in the picture, and they want them to exorcise the spirits. But the spirits are like, we just want to hang out.
Yeah.
Can you just let us hang out as a family?
It's like a whole family, yeah.
What's interesting is Mob at any point could have just said, yeah, I've exorcised them. Because he's the only one that can see them other than Ekubo. And Ekubo's a good liar. He could have just said, yep, done, they're gone. But for some reason, he seriously agonizes over the decision until finally letting them go in peace. But Reagan's really the one that makes that decision ultimately.
Yeah. It's a really good setup for the things that are going to be discussed in the next arc, right?
Yeah, so it's really setting up Mob to start making decisions and life choices for himself and not just do what he's told for either the appreciation of others or for validation.
Well, and just the problem that arises definitely in this episode is what's the difference between a human and a spirit? And for a long time, he has been told, like, his guiding ethos is he shouldn't use his powers against people. Mm-hmm. But the more human the spirits are becoming in this really makes him think. And again, there's no good answer that the show gives you. Right. It just really makes you think, and it really makes him think.
And this comes to the forefront in the next arc.
It really comes to the forefront even at the end of the whole season. He wrestles with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, like obviously in the next arc, it really does.
So in the next arc, which just covers two episodes, is the Asaragi arc. Mm-hmm. So there's a girl, daughter of a very rich businessman who's been supposedly possessed by dark spirits. And the father wants a bunch of psychics to come and exorcise the spirit. But it turns out that the spirit inhabiting the girl is not just an evil spirit. It's an exorcist from several decades ago who took a turn for the worst, shall we say.
Yeah, he's like a grudge spirit that is based off of a human being who has consumed other evil spirits.
Yeah.
To become sort of part ghost, part demon.
The demon basically wanted to lure in all these exorcists to kill them all en masse. Mm-hmm. Except Mob stops him and then goes into Asaragi's mind where he does ultimately do battle with the demon, But before that, the demon does a pretty good job of messing with Mob's head.
And it's also where you start the sort of the theme of this season, where it's like Mob's strength doesn't just come from himself or his psychic powers, but by his support network that he has.
Because essentially the demon drops him into a fake world where all of his friends and family are not there. And he's also removed his ESP powers, right? The demon wants Mob to go through life without either of those things to help him up. And his idea is Mob will realize that the only way to succeed in life is through brute strength. Whoever is the most powerful wins. Use your power for yourself, right? And it's really misery loves company, I think.
Yeah, very much. One of the things I think is really interesting about the episode is, honestly, if the spirit was being honest with Mob going through life without his powers would be just like Mob's normal life, since he's sort of vowed himself not to use his powers ever.
Exactly.
So his normal life without his powers would just be his normal life anyway, because that's sort of how he chooses to live. He never uses his powers to do anything.
To some extent, the guy does remove all memory of his powers. So in normal life, Mob does have at least the knowledge I could potentially fall back on my power. I choose not to. But in this alternate reality, he has no support behind him at all. Not even a safety net.
That's true.
But it's weird because the demon, he wants to convince Mob of this, but he himself is actually like repeating his own mistakes from his past life. So the reason he became a vengeful spirit is because he was this powerful exorcist that used his powers ostensibly for others, but really to enrich himself, right? And then his mom gets sick, and he starts doing all these worse and worse things to try to get money to help out pay the bills for the medical stuff. But it turns out that in doing those things, he brought more evil spirits into the house, which ultimately killed his mom, right? So then he dies on purpose, and he's now decided to use his powers for himself because he said, I didn't do enough of that in the last life. Except that's exactly how he got where he is, and he doesn't realize that. It's a backwards way of thinking. By the way, Ekubo is also a good boy.
He is. Ekubo is a good evil spirit.
Because he goes in there to try to snap Mob out of it, right as Mob is about to rely on his powers that he didn't know he had. And Ekubo has been telling him for a season and a half, why don't you use your powers for yourself? And he gets in there and sees him about to do just that. And he's like, hey, Mob, that's not you. That's not what you're about. What you doing, bro?
That's not what he's about.
He's about being thankful for all the people around him.
He is, and trying to better himself, because that's what really matters. Which he brings up again in the Claw arc, which is also really good, right? When he confronts the street punks of Claw. Oh, it's so good. What a moment.
What I like about the fight, because there's the fight. This is the big fight that I was alluding to. This, I think, is the best fight of the entire series.
Real good. Real good.
If for no other reason, because we finally get to see Bishonen Mob.
Yeah. We get to see Bishonen Mob and Scratch Mob, which is always good to see.
And by the end of the fight, Asaragi, the girl, who throughout the alternate reality had been like tormenting Mob, like mercilessly.
Yeah.
She breaks down, starts crying, and he's like, hey, don't worry about it. You know, we've all got our own lives to live. It's fine. You didn't know. It's not your fault. And now she has a huge crush on him.
Yep.
At that point, Mob is beginning to get a latent harem, which of
yeah, a bit of one.
Which of all the harems, I think is probably the most freaking deserved.
Well, because he's a good boy.
He's selfless. He's like, I put others
he's a good boy.
Before myself. Before I did it because I needed validation and I was an emotional husk. But now I'm doing it because I think it's the right thing to do.
Because he's a good boy. Because Mob is a good boy. He's a good boy. That Mob.
You know who's not a good boy? No.
Reagan.
It's Reagan.
He, bless his heart. He tries. He's kind of a good boy, but he's kind of not. He's kind of both,
It worked in the first season before Mob had been developing more of a backbone. But Reagan didn't know that Mob lived for 6 months inside the girl's head.
Well, and he doesn't know that, Mob's growing up. And he's growing up a good boy.
They get into a little tiff after Reagan calls him out yet again on no notice. And then starts berating him like, oh, you weren't doing anything like hanging out with friends. You ain't got no friends. Just hang out with me. Besides, even if you had friends, they're all going to laugh at you. That doesn't go over well.
And he's like, what? No, that's untrue. And that's a very unkind thing for you to say. So I'm just not going to come anymore.
He basically ripped to shreds all the I'm going to learn to trust my friends and be more thankful for them thing that Mom had just learned. And now Reagan's just pissing all over that. He's like, you know what? I got other things to do, turns out.
But what's good about Mob here is that it really shows you the growth, right? Because normally he would have just believed Reagan and moved on. But now he's just like, you know what? That's wrong. And I don't have to put up with you lying to me, to use me. So bye. Bye until you learn your lesson.
Yeah, he doesn't even do it in a mean way. He's like, I need some time.
Figure it out, is what he says.
Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Get this guy a puppers.
Get this guy fucking puppers. Figure it out.
So Reagan decides that he's he can survive without Mob, and he becomes a little too overconfident. I do like, though, in his quest to gain more business, because he's got that website now. When he had to
sweet website. I want that website.
When he exercised that ghost in the MMORPG.
Yeah.
And by exercise, I mean exercise in the biggest air quotes I could possibly make.
Well, it also just shows that what I like about Reagan is that he's kind of a scam artist, but not really. It's not like he doesn't deliver for the people he helps. It's that he just kind of goes along with what they're saying.
He actually is more of a validation person. Like, that's what he exists for. People come to him with, please acknowledge me and my problems. And that's all he does.
And, he can fix the things that he can fix.
Except things that Johto guy sets up for him.
Oh, what a dick.
That hubris got him in the end when he went on that psychic TV show.
Yeah.
Which is just so sad, because earlier he had noticed, hey, this guy's faking it, or that guy's faking it. This isn't real. And this time he knows on TV that guy's faking it, and yet he still goes along with the whole thing.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, well, this is the entertainment of the show, so.
Yep, hubris gets exposed as a quote-unquote sham.
But his press conference is real good.
It is real good, especially the end of it.
Yeah, where he's just like, I still do this because Mob came into my life, and Mob's a good boy.
And he looks in the camera and is like, man, you've grown up,
you're a good boy. Man, you're a good boy. And then Mob fixes his problems by being a good boy.
I thought their meeting on the bridge was really good.
Yeah, it was good.
Where Reagan's like, have you always known about me? And he's like, yeah, I've always known since I met you. You're a good guy.
But no, exactly. It's well written because it's a very accurate representation of a masculine relationship between the two, where they don't necessarily need to speak their feelings directly, but they both absolutely understand each other.
Yeah. Well, they spent so much time together, turns out.
No, exactly.
Because we get a lot of that backstory. After that, we have the Claw Prelude, which starts out with the marathon.
That's cute. The marathon is very cute.
Mob decides he's going to run in this marathon because, well, it's a 5K. Because next year when he runs it, if he finishes in the top 10, he's definitely going to ask Tsubomi out. But he's reminded that, well, we're not going to run this next year because next year we'll be in college prep mode. So this is the last year you're going to do it.
And he's like, fudge. Only he doesn't say fudge.
He initially decides, well, I'm going to go ahead and shoot for top 10 anyway, so I can ask Tsubomi out now. But within half the training montage, his rationale for this has completely changed. Probably the most poignant moment for me of his growth is when he's in the marathon. He's running. He's already fallen down, busted his knee. He's running with all he's got anyway because screw the rules. Tsubomi sees him running, right? And she starts to call out to him because old Mob needs that validation.
Yeah.
But she sees the look on his face and stops mid-sentence and is like,
yeah,
you know what?
New Mob doesn't.
He's doing this for him. He's not doing it for anybody else. I think that's probably when we finally find out, if you haven't figured it out already, that this is a whole new Mob. Everyone's going to start seeing him differently now.
Yep. He's finally won that great confidence.
The end of that episode is probably one of the best endings of an episode ever.
Oh, it's very good. Oof.
So the end of episode 8, Mob goes home. His mom's going to be making him a nice meal because he worked so hard training and then running the marathon. And his house is burning down. And he goes into the house. He finds some bodies.
He sees some Uncle Owens.
And he goes past 100%.
Yeah, he goes almost question marks again.
And then we end the episode. That was... Yeah. My wife doesn't watch a whole lot of anime, especially of that particular genre where that kind of thing is expected. So when we watched that episode, we had to wait a whole week. Like, she was messed up.
Yeah.
She's like,
yeah, it's
what?
tough.
What? They can't do that. I'm like, this is how anime do.
Yeah.
So it is with great regret that I have to tell you that the start of episode 9 is one of the biggest letdowns I've ever had.
Oh, no, it's good. It's a good letdown.
Well, I mean, it's nice that no, his family isn't dead. But on the other hand, there was so much potential there. And they're like, no, they're fine. Oh, okay.
Sort of. I mean, they're not really. It's very obvious that Ekubo is talking out of his ass trying to make sure Mob doesn't actually blow up the entire town.
Yeah, but like 5 minutes later, we find out that, yes, actually, they are fine. They're at a resort.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say 5 minutes later, but yeah. It's still fine. Also, you do get to see him mess up a couple fools.
Oh, yes.
Real good.
He has Bishonen hair when he does that. It's very nice.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't have the eyes, but he has the hair.
No, he gets My Hero Academia eyes. It just like goes bananas on some guys.
There's some punching. There's some kicking. It's like, whoa, this is new. He hasn't done that before to people. At least not that I can remember. So this is the Claw arc, which takes up the remainder of the series. And essentially, the leader of Claw comes back from wherever he was in the first season. So the leader of Claw comes back and is now taking over the world. That's his goal. He's stored up enough power in however many years he said, like 20, 30 years.
20.
He's been storing up power because that's his special ability. Stores up.
Turns out he's one for all. Like, let's be honest here.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. This arc is drawn out, I think, mostly to give all the other side characters time to shine because we haven't seen them.
I mean, literally, we deal
series.
with Mob. We get Mob being conked out for 2 episodes. So did I miss the turn of Show somewhere? Because he's just good, and we just kind of assume that that's right.
What do you mean?
Did I miss that?
Who?
Show, the redheaded kid.
See, yeah. I didn't.
That's the one thing that bugged me. It's just like, okay, why is he good and why does everybody believe that he's good?
See, that comes back to why the start of episode 9 was such a letdown. Because we see him and we remember him from the first series going, oh no, this is bad. And then things go worse. And then suddenly he's just like, yeah, actually I hate my dad. So that's why I do the things I do. Like, oh,
like I don't mind him as a character, and I don't even mind that this being his motivation or this is what he's doing, but like it comes out of nowhere. It's not well built up.
No, I agree.
The character is correct, it's just not well executed.
There were a couple of really good mini bosses before he gets to the leader of Claw.
Well, I mean, the fact that Mob gets to 100% on friendship is really great.
I mean, he gets to 100% on strong emotions, right?
Yeah, I know, but...
And friendship is an emotion, I guess.
It's a good one, because he's a good boy.
Well, you have 2 really good mini-bosses. One is the umbrella guy. Who has a very relatable backstory. He was ostracized, no one liked him because of, I think both, he was tall and stood out a lot, but also he was socially awkward and liked anime, basically normal, neat stuff. And never left his room, and he had psychic powers. And the only person that cared about him...
That he could barely control, just like Mob.
And care is a strong word here. The only person to care about him was the leader of Claw, Suzuki.
Yeah.
Or Toichiro. So Toichiro comes and gets him, and basically raises him as a pet.
Yeah, because he's a jerk.
That's not how Umbrella Guy sees it. He sees it as more like a father-son relationship, which it is not.
It is not.
It's like what Reagan was for a couple minutes once. But instead, this guy's been doing it for years. Super possessive. Very bad. The other good mini-boss was the guy, the blind dude.
Was he blind? I didn't realize he was blind.
So he was blind. He couldn't see anything, but he could hear people, and he could track where they're going to be, and he could teleport.
Yeah, it's kind of... I think everybody says it's like, well, that's kind of bullshit. He's kind of got some busted powers.
It is, and it takes all of the B team to put all their heads together and try to take this guy out.
No, it doesn't. It takes one Reagan to take him out.
Well, yes.
Because he can sense people, and by people, we mean he can really only track psychics.
Not Reagan's, turns out.
Not Reagan's.
Which Reagan move did he move on the blind guy?
Self-defense punch, which is just a punch where he calls out self-defense just in case it is or isn't.
It's like a rape whistle kick.
Yeah.
Or what was the move he used on the old dude?
Oh, that was spirit cleansing kick, I think.
Oh, possession jumping knee strike.
Yeah. It's good. It's a good attack.
I'd forgotten that that was a thing.
That's why the judo guy hates him so much.
And the judo guy didn't even remember that because he was possessed at the time.
Yeah, he was just kneed in the gut by Reagan.
So then B team takes out that dude with Reagan, and then Mob goes off to fight Toichiro alone. Risu still wants to go with him, but doesn't really, because as Mob says, and it's hard for him to say, you'll just get in the way.
Yeah, like you'll like die and stuff. It would be bad.
Which is nice, because now he's gone past just I'm relying on my friends. It's now I don't want to put my friends in danger when I can take this on myself.
Yeah.
So he goes up, he fights the mini boss, the umbrella guy, who he defeats with the power of friendship.
Yes. 100%ing on friendship.
And then he goes and fights Toichiro. Which, again...
The fight's okay.
It's not the climactic battle I was expecting.
Well, here's the thing, though. On one hand, it does bug me that there's not the super epic fight. But on the other hand, it kind of does that on purpose. So I'm okay with them not doing it, and I like the reason they don't do it. But also, you really just want to see Mob go ham,
well,
you know?
What's the reason that you're giving here? Just that he doesn't want to hurt another human being?
Yeah, right? Like, I mean, he honestly doesn't want to, because he's about to go all out and, like, go crazy, but then he doesn't. And, like, it's a very important choice for him that he doesn't, that he remains in control. But also, I want to see that fight, though.
Yeah, because this guy is one person, and yes, he's human, and Mob doesn't want to use his powers against people. On the other hand, this guy is destroying cities and has tried to kill all of his friends. Will probably try some more until he succeeds. Right.
Yeah, but Mob solves it by being a kind, good boy and staying in control. And again, that's the point, right? Is that Mob wins because he stays in control.
And somehow ends up saving the both of them by taking all of Toichiro's energy into himself.
And channeling it into the main theme.
Broccoli. However, I had forgotten that he put it in his pocket. And I don't remember when that happened. So when I watched it again, it's in the very first episode. 15 minutes in, Mob gets a packet of broccoli seeds and puts them in that pocket, which means he hasn't washed his clothes in a very long time.
That's probably true. Well, and also it's the main theme of the first season, which is good.
Yeah. And that's basically where we leave off. It's a good close to the arc that we've had so far. I don't know what happens in the manga past this point, but I do know there is more.
What's nice, though, is that it is one complete story, so it's just really nice to see that.
There is another OVA confirmed to be in production, so I assume it's going to be another Reagan telling you what happened OVA.
I would imagine. Yeah, probably just another summary.
Where you find out all the things that Reagan did.
Yeah.
How he was a really nice guy to Mob, and Mob went and stormed off that one time.
Yeah, you know, he did. What a rude boy. I take it all back.
You just have to look at it from the right perspective. But yeah, it's a good follow-up season. Not quite as bombastic, but it's got a lot more heart than the first season.
Agreed. The first season was just had a much edgier animations to it. But
so what are we going to watch next time?
Oh, I think you convinced me to watch German Lowly Kills Everyone.
Yojo Senki, the saga of Tanya the Evil.
I think one of us said the right name, but I couldn't tell you who.
Or How Not to Be an Atheist.
Sure. I mean, I guess.
Yeah. You shall see. I think you'll like it.
I mean, it could be really good. I actually have no opinion. I think the character designs are very interesting. So,
well, we shall see what you think next time.
All right. Bye forever.